Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title, this is a completely different video from anything I've ever filmed before. And it is about my experience with having a molar pregnancy. This isn't something recent, this happened 5 years ago. But I kind of feel slack for like taking so long to film this, because when I was going through a molar pregnancy, I went on YouTube to find some videos to help me through, and there was nothing apart from like doctors and specialists like going over the information and stuff. Like, I didn't want to hear that because I already knew what I knew. Like, I already knew what it was about. I wanted someone real to listen to and to know that I wasn't alone going through it, even though I know that it's not that rare. I mean, it is rare, but not that rare. Like, I just wanted to know I just wanted to be able to say, hi, like, how do you get through it kind of thing to someone else. But I didn't know anyone else had gone through this. So if you are someone watching that searched this to find someone that had gone through it, then I know exactly how you're feeling right now. If you are going through one or have gone through it, I know how you feel. I 100% like am here for you. If you want to chat, then feel free to message me or inbox me on Instagram. I'll have my Instagram that below. Like, I know how you feel and it's not good. It's like so draining emotionally and physically, and it's just the worst. So I know how it feels to go through this, and it's not fun. But anyway, in case you're not 100% familiar with what a molar is, because I know a lot of my friends and family don't know what it is, and if you're watching, then I guess you're gonna find out. So yes, a molar pregnancy, I'm just going to bring up like a little fact sheet from the Queensland Health thing. So I live in Australia, and Queensland Health is, because I'm in Queensland, that's what fact sheets I'm looking at. Molar is the technical name for a molar pregnancy is called gestational trophoblastic disease. I don't know if I butcher that, but I can never get it right, I swear. So GTD is what it's called. I'm just going to read straight off the information here. So it says, so I don't get anything wrong, GTD is a rare complication of pregnancy that occurs in about 1 out of every 1,000 pregnancies. It is also called a molar pregnancy. The placenta that usually feeds the baby during pregnancy grows abnormally, and the baby either does not develop at all or develops abnormally and cannot survive. The overgrowing placenta produces high levels of pregnancy hormones, so the woman feels pregnant and has symptoms of pregnancy. If GTD is not treated over time, it can behave just like cancer. Now, this is different to what I was told when I had a molar. When I had my molar, I was told that it was a cancer because the GTD, they didn't know that it was a placenta. They didn't know that it was the placenta. They thought it was the cells that would form into the baby. They thought that's what was the molar, and they said that the cells would be a tumour, and if they spread while it's contained in your uterus, this is what I was told then, this is not the information now. I was told that if while the cells are contained in the uterus, they're perfectly safe. They are a cancer, they are a tumour, but while it's contained in the uterus, it's perfectly safe. If it spreads outside the uterus, like if it hasn't been detected and it spreads outside the uterus, usually about the second trimester, it'll start spreading because it's too large to fit inside the uterus anymore, like it's overgrown. They said that it could spread outside the uterus and then cause cancer, but now they're saying it acts like cancer. So it affects, the cells affect your organs and stuff like that, just like cancer would, but it's not cancer. When I had a molar, there was only 2 sorts of molars. There was a partial molar and a complete molar. Now there's this other one called a hydatidform molar. I don't know, I butchered that, I know. And it is the most common type. It is not like a mole on your skin, obviously. In this situation, the overgrowth of the placenta is not cancerous, but it can spread to other parts of the body if not treated. So that's the most common one. That's one that I've only just known about. The partial molar is the one where a baby is forming, but it is not developing right. It's developing, but it's not developing right. It's developing in an abnormal way, and it will not survive. So I think I've seen pictures where like only like half of its body is growing, like it's only literally got like one arm and one leg. Other parts where the body's growing but there's like no organs inside. Some parts it's like it's completely deformed. My doctor explained to me like if I had a partial molar there'd be a fetus there, but it would be an alien. It would look like an alien because it would have no resemblance of a human baby. That's how my doctor explained it. And a complete molar is what I had, and it is where, now I know more that they've done, being able to do more research. It is where the placenta is abnormal and overgrows very quickly and a baby is never developed. I don't know whether the most common molar has a baby or not. It never said whether it grows a baby. It just says that it's not cancer, that the placenta overgrows. So I'm going to go on the two that I know more about. The partial molar is where there are two sperms or one sperm splits and has two lots of chromosomal makeup plus the chromosomal makeup from the egg. So there is, 69? Yeah, so there are 69 chromosomes in this one cell, which is abnormal. It's only meant to have 46. It's only meant to have 46. So this is what makes it grow so abnormally, because there is 46 but there's also another 23, so it makes it grow abnormally and it will never survive. So then you have your complete molar, which is what I had. I'm gonna keep saying that, but I had a complete molar. Anyway, I've got to laugh because I'm like so awkward about this. So a complete molar is where you have a sperm that's fine, like the chromosomal makeup is fine, it's perfect. But then you have your egg, which has nothing in it. There is no chromosomal makeup, there's nothing in it. It's an empty egg. It's a non-viable egg, and that then causes there to be nothing growing because there's only one lot of chromosome going to the egg and there's nothing. So it cannot grow anything at all. There's no other DNA. There's DNA from the father, but nothing from the mother. So that's how it just grows the placenta and the cells. No, it doesn't grow any baby. Oh, if you're wondering what this is like a little temporary tattoo I got. It's like a metallic one, and I haven't I haven't been able to wash it off. I washed off most of it, but don't mind that. It's not like some weird rash. The thing about the complete molar is where the partial molar is mainly like is the male's fault. Let's just blame the men for that because it's their sperm that's fucking up the situation. In a complete molar, it is all down to the woman's egg because that's what the egg is being released. That's the egg that's been released. So it's not, I'm not saying it's our fault because we don't release the egg. I'm not saying it's the men's fault either, but it's easy enough to blame someone else, isn't it? But no. When I was going through it, the specialist told me that every woman has a chance of getting a complete molar pregnancy. Every woman has a chance of getting it. It's just luck of the draw, or bad luck, I guess. I don't really say that it's luck, it's bad luck. But every woman will carry at least one non-viable egg in their ovaries. It's just unlucky if your body decides to release that egg at that time of that month that you're going to try for a baby. So it's unlucky really that we have to go through that just because of our body having one or many non-viable eggs that release. So it sucks. I don't know if I've missed anything. So let's just go on of how it's treated and monitored. So the treatment is to remove the abnormal pregnancy from the womb. So they put you to sleep and give you a curette or a D&C. Which from memory, they insert like a metal rod or something into your cervix to open up your cervix and then clean you out. The cells now are then taken into a lab. The cells from the D&C are then taken into a lab and they do all of the testing and that on it. After you have all this done, you have to go for blood tests very regularly to make sure your hormones levels return to normal and stay that way. You can get another molar, or the cells can then, let me just read from here. Depending on the type of molar pregnancy, between 4 to 15% of women will develop persistent disease that needs more treatment. This means that abnormal cells have developed despite the first treatment. So they either haven't taken it all, or your hormones have gone crazy. The abnormal cells can travel to other parts of the body, therefore your doctor will arrange for you to have scans. The treatment of a woman with persistent disease is usually several courses of chemotherapy in hospital once a fortnight until blood tests return to normal. So at the time of my mole, the specialist told me that the cells were a tumour and were a cancerous tumour, but now they know that it's not a cancerous tumour, it just acts like a cancer, and therefore you need to have chemo to get rid of it out of your cells, because I'm not exactly sure what it will do, but it's not nice. Obviously you need chemotherapy to get rid of it. Oh, I just lost that fact sheet. Shit. I got it, it's fine. I think that's all I need to tell you so far about the complete and partial. Like, it's just shit, really. It's not nice. Okay, so now I'm going to go on to my experience with the mole. So it started off, we started trying for a baby when Caleb was 2, like on his 2nd birthday we started trying. I fell pregnant straight away, and I honestly thought I was having twins at first, because I had every single symptom you could imagine. I had heartburn, I had sore breasts, which are normal anyway. I was already like getting a bump like pretty early on, like probably like 7-ish weeks. I was like, it definitely looked like I was pregnant. And I even went to a friend's wedding and I looked so pregnant, ugh. No one knew I was pregnant at that stage. I think 2 of the people that were sitting, like 2 of my friends that were sitting with us, I told them I was pregnant, because I couldn't eat the food, because it was like, I can't remember what it was, but I was like, I can't eat this, I'm pregnant. No, I wasn't. Anyway, so I was like, before I was due for my period, I did my test, and my test came back, like the urine test, pregnancy test came back, not the test line, not the line that like says the test working, but the pregnancy line, like the line that says you're pregnant, was darker than the other line. Like, I was like, what the, I've never seen that before. Like, and especially like I was still so early, like usually it's like super faint at that stage because you haven't had your period. You're not past like the 4 weeks, you're not at 4 weeks yet, you're still, I think I was like at like 3.5 weeks pregnant when I did the test. And yeah, it was super solid. I was like, wow, what if it's twins? Because it's like the hormones would already be high. Anyway, so I went to my doctor. He didn't do a blood test, I don't think, at this point. I don't remember what happened. But I went to my doctor. He organised for an ultrasound to get done. I booked in for an ultrasound. Like, I knew I was still very early, so I wanted to wait until I was like 6 weeks to get the pregnancy test, to get the scan done, because I didn't really want to have an internal scan, but at the same time I also wanted to wait to see like the heartbeat and actually see like the little blob in that. Like, I didn't want to go there and be like, oh, it's still in this like little, it doesn't even have a heartbeat, that kind of thing. Like, I wanted to know that it was a viable pregnancy from the get-go kind of thing. So we waited till like just after I was 6 weeks. So I was like 6 weeks, 6.5 weeks, or maybe like even like 7 weeks or something like that. We went for the ultrasound. The technician just gave me a normal abdominal one, and he said that I was still fairly early. I wasn't as early as what I thought, which now I'm thinking I knew I was. I knew when I ovulated, like, I'm not that out of sync with my body. Like, I knew when I ovulated, I'm pretty regular. So I didn't question it, but I know I should have at the time. Like, I knew that I ovulated when I was meant to. At the time, we were just like, okay, we'll just come back in a little while. And because I had to go back to the doctor, get another referral, and my doctor said just to wait a little bit longer, just to make sure that when I do go next time, it'll be a nice image of a little fetus growing. So by the time we waited like another like 4 weeks or something like that. It was, so I went like when I was like, it must have been like 6.5 weeks, because when I went next time, I waited like 4 weeks, and at this stage I would have been 10.5 weeks pregnant. But going on the first scan, I would have only been 7 or 8 weeks. So we went to the second scan, and we're sitting there, and I honestly I was excited, because I was like, yeah, we're gonna be able to see the baby today. but at the same time I was like, last scan wasn't good. I had so much doubt, but I didn't want to let it be known to David. I think he had doubt as well, maybe a little bit, I don't know. We went in there, he put the gel on, put the little probe on, and straight away I see nothing. I'm laughing because I'm awkward, but honestly I see nothing, and I knew straight away that there was nothing. But at the same time I was like, there has to be. Like I have every pregnancy. I had heartburn, I had headaches, I had morning sickness so bad, I had bloody, I was getting a belly, I don't even know what other symptoms there were. I had like so many. I was so sure I was pregnant this time because there was everything showing I was. And to see on the ultrasound that there was absolutely nothing there, like to me at that stage I see nothing, absolutely nothing, an empty uterus. And I held it together. I was so good. I held it together and I was like, okay, that it is what it is. Maybe I miscarried and didn't even know. I don't know. Like I had no bleeding up to this stage, so I was like, I don't know how I would have a miscarriage because, or maybe my body just absorbed it. I don't know at the stage. I had no clue what to think. We went out there and the lady at the desk, she's just like, she must have known. She must have known. The technician must have said to her, you know, don't charge her, because the ultrasound was going to be like $170. And the technician, the receptionist lady just looked at me. I don't know if she said have a good day, but she's like, it's fine, don't worry. See you later, or something like that. Or she said have a good day, I don't know, I can't really remember, but I just remember her saying that we didn't have to pay pretty much. So we walked out. I think when I got to the car was when I cried, because I was like, what the fuck? Like I was so wrecked. I had no clue what was going on. I'm getting teary, I think about it. And I just wanted answers, because I was like, how can this be possible? Like how can my body tell me I'm pregnant and then be nothing there? Like I didn't know what this was, and I just wanted answers. We were either driving home or we were still in the car park. I can't really remember how it went, or we went to Coles or something like that. I was in a car park. I was still in the car, I know that. And the reception lady from my doctor called me and she's like, you need to come in as soon as possible, like today. She's like, my doctor, she's like, oh, Dr. Nick has, my doctor's name is not Dr. Nick, his name is Nick, but his name is Dr. Myers, but we call him Dr. Nick because it's, hey, Dr. Nick. Okay, anyway, off track. And she's like, oh, she said Dr. Myers actually. She's like, oh, Dr. Myers has a gap. He needs you to come in to discuss your ultrasound results. And I'm like, at least I'll get answers at the stage. So I was like, okay, we'll be there. And I knew straight away that it wasn't gonna be good, but I needed answers. So we went there and Dr. Nick, he goes, I'm so sorry, this is what happened. He goes, the non-scientific name is, like, for the ultrasound picture was you have bubbly uterus, which looking back on it, it does just look like a massive bunch of bubbles. He says that like the doctors like to joke about it being a bag of grapes because on the ultrasound it looks like bubbles or a bag of grapes. I was like, wow, so amusing. And so that's what we joked about it being. I was like, oh, instead of getting pregnant I just got a bag of grapes. Actually, I used to joke about saying instead of being pregnant I got cancer, because at the time we thought it was cancer, but now I know that it's light cancer. Still not nice. So he told me to go for, had to go for a blood test straight away, and then I got another referral to go for a blood test 2 days after that. So I did that. He told me that I would do the blood test and then get a referral almost straight away to go and see the hospital, which I live in Toowoomba. We went to the base hospital. They were brilliant, 100%. They did so well organising it and sorting it all out. I mean, I know it's their job because they're a hospital, but I know like some situations, some hospitals would be a lot more slack and not as fast. I don't know what else to say. So we did the 2 blood tests. They got sent off. The results went to my doctor. My doctor then sent my referral to the hospital saying, so when you're pregnant with a molar, complete molar, you're pregnant because your placenta and your cells are growing so rapid and fast, your BHCG levels rise. Like they're meant to double each day in normal pregnancy. In a molar pregnancy, they like quadruple and 10 times, and they go like crazy. They just jump. Like each day they're jumping and jumping. So my body thought I was so far pregnant because my hormone levels, it thought I was so far, like it was more intense than when you have twins. So that's why they sent me for a blood test to check like within 2 days, my pregnancy level had gone like more than 10,000, like 10,000 I don't know, 10,000 points. I don't know how to explain the levels. It had gone up like 10,000 or something like that, when it should have only gone like 4,000 or something like that. Like at that stage it had only gone like 4,000 or something, but it had gone like maybe 10, maybe more. I can't remember. Maybe it was like 40,000 at that point. I don't know. I know that it just jumped. Like it was more than what it should have been at that point. Like way more. So he sent a referral off. I got a call from the hospital maybe 3 or 4 days after that. So by this time it had been like a week. So I'm gonna say like 4 days because it was like a week, because I went for my ultrasound when I was 10 weeks. Got the 2 blood tests, which was like then 2 days. So I was 10 weeks and 2 days. It was 11 weeks by the time I went to the hospital. So it wasn't like too long, but they were pretty quick. Because I had to obviously book me in and that. They called me like on the 2nd day, and then I came in 2 days after. So it was like 4 days after the blood tests. They did a blood test on me in the morning. As soon as I got there, I went for an ultrasound to see what they could see. At that point, they thought it was a miscarriage, but I hadn't had any losses. So I was like, I don't know how it would be a miscarriage because I haven't bled at all. There's been no bleeding, no cramping, no pain, no nothing. So it can't be a miscarriage. Or my body, like they were thinking that my body had absorbed it somehow, like when it was early on. So I went for the ultrasound, and then I went for another pregnancy test a couple hours. Like I think I went for my first blood test at like 9, and then I think I went for the next one at 1. So within 4 hours, my pregnancy hormone had jumped a lot in that 4 hours, when it naturally wouldn't have jumped that much. So they concluded that they were still unsure whether it was actually like it was a complete molar or it was just a miscarriage, but they were pretty certain that it was a molar, and they had booked me in for 3 days from that. I think it was like 3 days. It was very quick. They booked me in like 3 days after that for like that appointment at the hospital to come for day surgery and have a D&C and have it all removed. That day was like the worst day ever. I will just say this because we were in day surgery. My mother-in-law came and got Caleb because David went to work, which he regrets now. Like he wishes he was there with me now. But he went to work. He had to start work early or something like that. I can't remember. It might have been like 5 or something in the morning. He had to start work. I went with my mum and my mum's friend, and Caleb went to the hospital. My mother-in-law went and came and got Caleb. My mum stayed with me, which I really don't care about now. But my mum stayed with me until I went into it was like pre-op. Like it was like not even going to theatre next. It was just going into the back room, like into the ward, to just sit there for fucking hours waiting for everyone else to get theirs. It was like more life-threatening, which there was someone coming out with like a bandage over his head, and I was like, yeah, he needs surgery first before me, because my head's fine. It's my vagina, not my vagina, my uterus. So my mum left. I went in to like get all my weight, and I did another blood test. I went and got my cannula. I went and got my drip put in. I always get the two confused. I was like, I'm not getting a catheter up my... Catheter goes in your pee hole. Cannula goes in your... I got a drip, okay? I got a drip put in. I got that in. I did a urine test, a blood test. They checked my blood pressure, my heart rate, all that, da-da-da-da. And I sat in a chair. It was the most comfiest chair, and I was sleeping the whole time because I was wrecked. I was stressed. I was emotional. I was so tired. So I slept. But every single time I opened my eyes, there was a KFC ad on, and I shit you not, I was the hungriest I've ever been, because I hadn't eaten since like 8 o'clock the night before. And by the time I went in for surgery, or the D&C, which is surgery, by the time I went in for that, it was like 3 o'clock. So I had nearly not eaten for 24 hours. Probably over 24 hours at this point. No, it was like, I had dinner at 6, we had an early dinner, but I finished eating at like 6 or something, like 6:30 was. So it had been it'd been a while. You know, it's 21 hours. I hadn't eaten. I hadn't really drunk water or anything like that. I had water, but nothing else. So I was fucking hungry. I was starving. Every time I opened my eyes, a KFC ads on the TV. I was like, why can't they put a bloody movie on? Like, I don't want to see ads about KFC when I'm starving. Me and another lady were getting the exact same thing. I don't know if she had the same thing as me, or if she had a miscarriage and she was getting a D&C, I'm not sure. But me and her got the exact same thing done. I said to her, like, they were like, who wants to go in first? Her name was, we had the same initials because I wasn't married then. So we had the same initials. It was so awkward. They're like, at first I was like, oh, I hope she doesn't, you know, get it switched around. But I was like, she's like, oh, I'm getting the same as you. Like, you know, we talked, and I was like, well, it doesn't matter then. We were both getting the same thing. It doesn't matter if they switch our, you know, our surgeries around. But that was just a joke, just like little light humour for us, because we were stressing out and we were emotional. She went in first. I said, it's fine, like, we've been here all day, we may as well wait a bit longer. I may as well wait a bit longer. So she went in first. Her surgery was only about half an hour. Mine was only the same. I think mine was actually a bit longer than hers. I went in, I was freezing cold, like always when I go into theatre, I am always fucking freezing. I was nervous, and I was like, it's alright, it's gonna be over soon, da da da. I got out of theatre, got some yummy sandwiches and a cup of tea. I was like, yeah, it's like a date. As soon as I got out of surgery, I just walked down. David was there waiting, and he was like, oh my god, he's like, I didn't expect you to just walk out like that. And I was like, it's all good, so I'm good. And then we went and got KFC because I was starving. I hadn't eaten, I was so hungry. And my sister-in-law was like, because she's a nurse, and she's like, you should have just had something light instead of something super heavy. I was like, I don't care. I was hungry. I don't care if I was going to throw it back up or it was going to be so unsettled. I needed to eat, and I needed to eat something big and greasy because I was starving. And then we got put into the specialist and that, and I got put into the research thing, all that kind of thing, where I had to do blood tests and da da da. So my case was a little bit different, and like they were really worried at first because my levels took so long to get down. Usually they take like a month or two, but because I was like almost at my second trimester, my placenta was already so large, the cells were already so large, and also my hormones were ridiculously high that I have the information of what my hormone levels were, and I literally found it the other day, but I don't know where it is now. So you go for blood tests once a week. So I chose to have my blood test done on a Monday. So I'd go to the hospital once a week on a Monday. All the pathology place, it's like a private pathology place, it all went to the same place. I went there once a week on a Monday, got a blood test for 6 months. I literally have a hole in my arm now. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it, but I have a hole in my arm. Not so much in this. I can see where they've taken blood tests from here, but I have a hole in my arm now from the amount of blood tests I've had. There's that much scar tissue there that there is just like a little divot. I don't even know if you can see it on camera or not, but that's stressful, and that's like that's an emotional roller coaster on its own, just having to go for blood test after blood test after blood test. So I went for a blood test once a week for 6 months. Once my hormones, they were really worried because my hormones at first weren't going down very fast at all, like they were dropping like 100 at a time, and they were really worried. I talked to the specialist, and she prepared me about if my hormones weren't going to go down fast enough, what the next step was, and it was chemo. And we were planning our wedding. So nervous. We're planning our wedding. And I was like, I'm gonna be a ball bride. I don't know there's some ball brides, but like my hair was so important to me that I was so worried. My mother-in-law was like researching like different like natural remedies to like save your hair and chemo and stuff like that. We were so, my mother-in-law did so good, like did heaps to support. Everyone did, but luckily my hormones started to finally go down a bit faster. Still took ages, and then after that initial first, as soon as my hormones went down, I needed to get a blood test once a month for 6 months to make sure my hormones were staying down, and luckily they were, and now that I'm molar free. Each time, so I've had Lewis and Winston since then, and each time I have a pregnancy, every time I give birth, my placenta has to be my placenta has to be sent off to a lab to get tested to make sure there's no abnormalities in the placenta and stuff. I also have to get blood tests done at 6 weeks to make sure my hormone levels have gone down or going down. But other than that, I'm all okay. This is where it gets so hard for me to talk about, because I know I've been like smiling the whole time and joking and that, but now I'm gonna get real with you for a moment. And I honestly haven't talked to anyone like this before. Not even David knows how I really feel about the whole thing. Like, I joke to people and I talk to people about it, and I always like, oh, da, 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 you know, like I joke and I try and come off as if I'm fine with it and I've coped with it and it's not a big deal. But this is what gets me. They were able to do, oh my gosh. And I still talk about something else because I can't do that right now. So as you could tell, it was like so hard to go through, like each week waiting for them to ring up and say, oh, your hormones are going down this level, this level, this level. And at first it sucked because it took so long, but then it started going down. They're like, you're doing so good, like if you need some support. I was like, it's fine, like my family are so good at supporting me right now. And they're like, we got counsellors, we got this, we got that. And I really should have taken some counselling. One of the results came back from the placenta, or the cells, and they were able to find out that that pregnancy was, I'm just going, I can do this. I don't know why I had to go through it. They did the testing on it and found out that I had the female chromosome, or the X and Y, whatever it is. I found out. I had the information but I couldn't find it. Well, I found it but I lost it just the other day. They found that it was a female pregnancy, and now I always think that if it wasn't for my body, they would have been a little girl. I would have been able to give Caleb a little sister, and I would have been able to give David a little daughter. And I love my boys so much. I love my two little ones, Lewis and Winston, because they came after Molar. And if it wasn't for the Molar, I would have never have had them. And I absolutely love them and cherish every moment I have with them. But it always gets me down thinking I was so close to having a girl, and I so want one. But I'll probably never get that chance anymore. I don't want to cry. I tell everyone that I'm fine, and I'm fine with it. And it's over with now. There's nothing I can do about it. But it really does suck. And I think the reason why it's got me down so bad lately is the fact that my sister-in-law's just had her baby, and it was a baby girl. And I'm not jealous. I'm not anything. I just hate the fact that I was so close to being a mum to a little girl, and now I can't ever do that again. Probably, even if we have another one, it's probably gonna be a boy, because that's all I can obviously have. I know I'm just rambling on now because I just want to talk about it. I love that my sister-in-law's been able to have a girl, and that she's been able to give my in-laws, David's mum, dad, a granddaughter. But I always think back and think like, wow, I was so close to being that person as well, to give them a granddaughter, not just a whole army of grandsons. But I think back and I'm like, why couldn't that have been me as well? Why couldn't they have had two granddaughters? I'm not even jealous of my sister-in-law. I'm so thankful that there's a granddaughter in the family, or a girl cousin on David's side of the family. I'm so happy and thankful, and I will cherish the friendship that my kids will have with their little girl cousin. It's even more special because she's born on Winston's birthday too, so like her and Winston will always have like this bond, hopefully. But it just sucks. Like every time I think about the Molar and the emotional roller coaster that it put me through, I just think about how close I was and how quickly that was like the whole thing was ripped away from me. Another thing that always gets me down, and will probably be hard for a lot of people that have a complete Molar. A Molar pregnancy screws you around emotionally and physically, and just messes with you so much because of the hormones, and your body thinks you're pregnant. They give you all sorts of pregnancy symptoms, not hormone symptoms, and it really stuffs you around. As well as finding out what the sex of the pregnancy would have been, Also knowing that you never seen anything to do with even looked remotely like a baby. Like sometimes I feel like this is worse than a miscarriage, because in a miscarriage you've got like, there's been loss in both things, and miscarriage is a totally different, like I'm not saying that Molar's worse, I'm saying like for me emotionally it was harder than a miscarriage, because you have nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing. You've never seen a picture on, you've never seen a baby on an ultrasound. You've never seen anything that resembles a baby on an ultrasound. You never even got to see a heartbeat, and or even just a stillborn baby. Like I was almost into my second trimester. If I had had a miscarriage, I would have passed a little fetus, like a little tiny thing, and I would have been able to have that. But with a molar, you have nothing. All that hard work on you emotionally and physically, and you get nothing to show for it, apart from blood test after blood test after blood test, just emotionally draining on you. This is why I haven't filmed this video up until now, because I could talk about it with friends, but I would never completely open up. I'm just dripping tears everywhere. But sitting here on my own in front of a camera, I can completely open up. Well, this is going to be a bitch of a video to edit. But I've been able to open up and just completely just let it all out, and it feels good. But it also sucks at the same time, because now my family's going to see this and they're going to know how bad. I don't want anyone to think that I'm weak. So I just didn't want to film this because I didn't want to seem weak to anybody, which is a stupid thing. But I told everyone that I was fine, that I was strong, I could do it, and just like knowing that I wasn't strong, pushing away, not pushing away, but just not making out that I needed help was like the biggest mistake. Okay, so I've changed to my phone because my camera's gone flat. So sorry about the change in quality, but the thing I want people to take away from this today is, if you have had a molar or are having a molar, then don't be like me. Don't tell your friends and family that you are fine, knowing that you're not. Get the support you need. Just have your friends and family around you. Have the ones that love you and want to support you and want to be there for you. Take as long as you want to recover from this. Just like a miscarriage, just like if you have a stillbirth, take as much time as you need to get back to yourself. I thought I bounced back. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I've got this. I'm a strong woman. But no, you can clearly see I'm not fine. You can clearly see I'm not as strong as I wanted to be, or thought I was. And it's okay not to be, it's not fine. It's okay not to be fine. It's okay not to be strong. It's not okay to hide your feelings because you're scared of being weak, or you don't want to burden anyone else with your problems. Like, people are there to help you. And the worst thing is, every one of my friends and family think I'm fine. Like, after they see this, they're gonna be like, you should have come to us, but I thought I was fine. Take as long as you want. Cry. Fucking do whatever you need to do. But know that you're not alone. Know that there's people out there that have been through this. Know that we're all in this together, kind of thing. Like, I'm here for you. If you want to chat, then DM me. Like, go on my Instagram and DM me or something like that. Like, find me. Unless you want to put in the comments, and that's perfectly fine too. I don't mind. And however you want to contact me, then do that. I'm here for you, and let's talk. Make sure you have plenty of people around you that support you and will help you out when you need it. Like, I know that as soon as my husband sees this, he's going to be annoyed at me because I didn't tell him, and probably my father-in-law and mother-in-law too. They're going to be annoyed at me because I didn't allow them to know that I was still affected. But at the end of the day, they'll be there for me. And that's what you need. You need people to support you. And if you don't have it, then please talk to people that have been through it, like myself, and find some other people on YouTube or forums that have been through this. You're not alone. It is crazy how many people have gone through this, but don't voice their opinion. What you take away from this video is get some support. We're all here for each other, and don't give up, but also give yourself time to recover. Give yourself time to mourn. Give yourself time to not bounce back, but get back to what you were. Don't think you have to bounce back because like that's how everyone else is, because a lot of people don't bounce back. A lot of people don't ever recover very well like me. Like, it's been 5 years and I'm still struggling, even though people don't think I am still struggling. And it just shows that, like, doesn't matter how strong you are, doesn't matter how whatever you are, like, it's hard. I'm just rambling now because I'm finally not crying again. It feels good. So I guess please talk to me if you want to. I'm always here for people. Yeah, I guess that's it. And thank you for watching the video. It meant a lot. And I guess I'll see you later.